Hello? Hello? Hi!
Hello everyone. Look at this video right here. Romanian, the forgotten Romance language. You know, it's interesting because Romance language, there's Spanish, French, Portuguese, and Italian. And they're all kind of on the west side of Europe. And then you have Romania that is alone near the right side. That is also a Roman language.
Yeah.
Because Romania, Romance, the Roman Empire.
Oh.
That's why it's called Romania.
Is that true?
Yeah, someone told me in the comment. I was so stupid. I was like, it must be because of that, yes. But it
Really?
is. Yes. So Lang Focus YouTube channel is going to talk about the Romanian language. Suji is a language expert.
Me?
Every time that we react to language, she pronounces better than me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Polish, Swedish. And I feel like maybe the Romance language I'm going to be better. But let's see.
True!
Maybe.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Lang Focus channel and my name is Paul. Today's topic is the Romanian language, or
Limba română.
in Romanian.
Whoa.
As you can see, the word Romanian contains the word Roman in it. Why? Because it developed from the language of the Romans, Latin. To clarify, Romanian is a member of the Romance language family. When speaking of Romance languages, Romanian tends to get overlooked, and I'm guilty of that myself. Maybe it's because of its geographic isolation from the other Romance languages. You can see that the other major Romance languages are all spoken in Western Europe, but Romanian is spoken in Eastern Europe and is separated from the others by the Balkans and parts of Central Europe. Romanian is part of the Eastern Romance branch, and there are other languages of this branch which are spoken by minorities throughout Southeastern Europe. Notice that the names of these languages contain the word Romanian. These languages are all closely related to Romanian. Sometimes the word Romanian is used to refer to all of these closely related languages together, and some Eastern Romance speakers consider them to be dialects of one language. The language of Romania and Moldova is sometimes referred to as Daco-Romanian to distinguish between it and the others. Daco-Romanian has the largest number of speakers out of all of those languages by far. And in this video, I'm basically focusing on Daco-Romanian. Romanian is spoken by around 24 million native speakers and around 4 million second language speakers. It is the official language of Romania, where it is the mother tongue of around 93% of the people, or around 18.6 million people, as well as the official language of Moldova, where it's spoken by around 2.75 million people.
Moldova used to be part of Romania, I think. Well, people told me. That's why they speak Romanian. But like it's some kind of their own dialect, but it's Romanian, basically, yeah.
In Moldova, the language is referred to as Moldovan by some people and as Romanian by others. Romanian is somewhat unique amongst the Romance languages because it developed in close contact with other languages, mainly the Slavic languages, which have influenced its pronunciation and vocabulary. The closest Romance language to Romanian is reportedly Italian, which shares about 77% lexical similarity with Romanian. Compare that to 82% for Italian and Spanish, or 89% for Italian and French. History. The people living in the area before the arrival of the Romans were known as the Dacians, or
Daci.
in Romanian.
Daci.
Dacia was conquered by the Roman military in 106 CE, and the population adopted the Latin language very quickly. Exactly what happened is not clear. Maybe the Dacian people simply adopted the Latin language of their conquerors, but it's also possible that the area was flooded with Roman settlers who intermarried with the local Dacians. There's also the theory that the Dacian language was already an Italic language closely related.
Basically, they get invaded, and the people that invade them, they make babies with the local. So they develop they keep the language.
Yeah.
That's basically
to Latin. What is clear is that the area became very Latinized very quickly. The Roman Empire withdrew its military from Dacia in 271 to 272 CE, but left behind a Romanized Latin-speaking population. The next few centuries are fairly mysterious, but the local dialects of Latin gradually evolved, and sometime before the 9th century, Proto-Romanian, the ancestor of Romanian and all the Eastern Romance languages, arose. There are different opinions about whether Proto-Romanian developed from the Vulgar Latin spoken by the Romanized Dacian population, or from a variety of Vulgar Latin spoken by people south of the Danube River who later migrated to the north. Slavic influence. Notice again that Romanian is surrounded by mostly Slavic languages. That's because of the migration of Slavic speakers into the area between the 7th and 9th centuries CE. Contact with Slavic speakers had an influence on Eastern Romance, particularly in vocabulary and pronunciation, but also in grammar and other areas. It's thought that many Slavic speakers adopted the local Romance dialect, but because it was their second language, they spoke it with an accent, and they continued to use certain Slavic words that felt natural for them to keep using. Old Church Slavonic must have also had an influence on Romanian, because it was the administrative language until the 16th century and the liturgical language until the 17th century. It's hard to know exactly how Romanian developed during the Middle Ages because there are no existing Romanian texts from before the 16th century. The earliest Romanian text is Neacshu's letter, which dates to 1521. It was written with the Cyrillic alphabet, which was used to write Romanian until the 19th century. This is an obvious result of the Slavic influence on the language. The modern period. It's beyond the scope of this video to go into detail about the history of Romania and the governments that ruled over its different parts. What's important for us to remember is that despite changing borders and governments, there remained an ethnic and linguistic group that considered themselves Romanian. With a growing sense of Romanian national identity, efforts to standardize the Romanian language began in the 18th century. The first Romanian grammar was published in 1780. In the 1800s, Romanian linguists made a concerted effort to re-Latinize the language and remove Slavic and other influences from the language. And interestingly, in replacing a lot of the non-Romance vocabulary, they drew words not only from Latin, but also from Italian and especially from French. When Romania became an independent country in 1878, its official language became Romanian. Its borders changed several times during the 20th century, while Moldova spent much of the 20th century under Soviet rule. As it gained independence, Moldova made Moldovan its official language. The consensus is that Romanian independence,
Wait, on the map?
Moldova spent
It's part of the Ukraine Soviet Union, not of Romania. Maybe I was wrong.
much of the 20th century under Soviet rule. As it gained independence,
Yeah.
Moldova made Moldovan its official language. The consensus is that Romanian and Moldovan are a single language, just with some regional variation. The standard written language is exactly the same for both Romanian and Moldovan. So, how did this Romance language survive in this area when most others didn't?
There's Hungarian right in the middle of Romania. Hungarian right in the middle. And then there's something on the right. Gago? Gago. It's like red. And then there's Bulgarian, of course.
Gagol?
Yeah. I don't know what that
Galapagos.
Hungarian thing is doing right in the middle.
Survive? Well, nobody really knows. But as I said before, the area known as Dacia became thoroughly Latinized, probably more than other areas in the region. So whereas in other areas, the Latin influence faded after the departure of the Roman Empire, in Dacia, that Latin influence did not fade. There are also various theories about the people fending off invaders better than others, or that the geography of their land insulated them from being overrun and assimilated. For example, some say that the Carpathian Mountains provided a barrier for attack from the north and east, or provided refuge and strategic high ground above invaders. But again, nobody really knows. So, what is Romanian like? Well, since Romanian is a Romance language that developed from Latin, it's obviously quite similar to French, Spanish, Italian, and other Romance languages. But it's also been influenced by other languages, particularly the Slavic languages, because of its position in the Balkan Sprachbund. The Balkan Sprachbund is an area in which the various languages have mutually influenced each other, including Romance languages, Slavic languages, Greek, and Albanian. It has also been influenced by other nearby languages like Hungarian. Vocabulary. The majority of Romanian vocabulary is of Latin and Romance origin. Based on one study, 63% of Romanian vocabulary is Romance, while 11.5% is Slavic, with other vocabulary coming from Turkish, Greek, Hungarian, and German. But if we focus on the most common 2,500 words in Romanian, the percentage of Romance vocabulary is around 76%, and Slavic around 15%. Let's look at some sentences and examine their vocabulary.
Cunosc istoria Europei foarte bine.
This
Cunosc istoria Europei foarte bine.
means I know the history of Europe very well. Word for word, it's I know history the
Cunosc
Europe's very well.
istoria
All of these words are Romance
Europei
words.
Cunosc.
Means I know
Foarte bine.
or I'm familiar with, and is like conosco in Italian or je connais in French.
Oh, je connais. Cunosc.
Wait a
Honestly,
minute.
French is my first language, and if you show me Cunosc, I would not know that it means connais. Because it sounds so different when he say it.
Istoria.
Means history and is like storia in Italian or
Yeah,
histoire
this
in
one
French.
you can guess what it means.
Europei.
Means European and is like europeo in Italian or européen in French.
Foarte.
means very in Romanian and is related to the word meaning strong in Italian, forte, and in French, fort. So here it means very, and it's not used that way in Italian or French.
Bine.
Okay.
Means well, like the Italian word bene, and like the
bien.
French word bien.
Okay.
Another example.
Îmi spăl mașina fără probleme în fața casei.
Zăbân mașina fără problem în fața casei.
It's interesting because this sentence look very different than the other one.
Ja, because it has this.
Il m'a pas imaginé me faire parler. There's a. I washed the car in front of the house without any problem. See, I think case is house. The last word.
Because it's
This means I
similar to
washed the
French.
car in
No, it's
front
similar
of the
to
house
Spanish.
without any problems.
Or
Word for word, it's
Italian.
myself, I wash car the without problems in face houses the
În.
means me or myself, like me in Italian or me in French. It's the indirect object pronoun, which is used here because the verb is reflexive.
Me.
Spăl.
Means wash in the first person singular. This word developed from Vulgar Latin ex per lavare and is like the Portuguese word per lavar, meaning to wash.
Mașina.
Means car and is similar to macchina in Italian and like macchina in Spanish, which means machine or engine.
Fără.
Means without and comes from Latin foras, like fuori in Italian, which
Wow.
means outside.
Probleme.
Is also a Romance word coming from Latin problema, which ultimately came from ancient Greek.
În.
Means in and comes from Latin and ultimately goes all the way back to Proto-Indo-European.
Fața.
Means face or front and comes from Vulgar Latin faccia. It's similar to faccia in Italian and fas in French.
Casei.
Means house, like casa in Italian and casa in Spanish. Another example.
Trebuie să oprim războiul.
This means
Trebuie să oprim război.
we must stop the war. Word for word, it's must, subjunctive, stop, war, the.
Trebuie
Means have to, and is a Slavic loanword.
Trebuie.
să.
Comes from Latin
Să.
si, and it
It's not size. S. So when you have the A with the thing on it, it's like s.
this sentence indicates the subjunctive mood.
Oprim
Means stop, and is a Slavic loanword.
războiul.
Means war, and is also a Slavic loanword.
Război.
Many commonly used Romanian words are of Slavic origin. A few more examples are
Prieten.
friend,
Prieten.
A iubi.
to
A
love,
iubi.
A plăti.
to pay,
A ploti.
A trezi.
to wake
A
up,
trezi.
A găsi.
A găsi. Găsi.
find. So as you can see, the majority of Romanian vocabulary is Romance vocabulary, but Slavic vocabulary is also quite evident. Word order. The word order of Romanian is very similar to other Romance languages, with one particular difference that we'll notice.
Cunosc istoria Europei foarte bine.
Conosco la storia d'Europa molto bene. The key words in these sentences are all in the same order. What's different is that the Romanian sentence has no standalone definite article or preposition for of. That's because while other Romance languages no longer have case declensions for nouns and adjectives like Latin did, Romanian does have them. Well, it has 3 case declensions for nouns. Languages that don't have case declensions often use prepositions instead to indicate the same information. In this sentence,
Europei.
is in the genitive case, meaning of Europe or Europes. The most basic form of the noun is actually Europa with an A, but the I at the end is a definite article, and the E indicates genitive case. Because the genitive case indicates possession, we don't need a preposition meaning of, like in Italian. As for the definite article, in Romanian it comes at the end of the word and works together with the case declension. In the word,
Istoria.
the A shows that the word is definite, so we don't need a definite article before the word. Noun cases. Let's look at a noun in Romanian and see how it changes form depending on its case, meaning its role in the sentence. The noun is,
Bărbat.
which means man,
Bărbat.
first in the singular, indefinite, nominative and accusative,
Un bărbat.
genitive
bărbat.
and dative,
Unui bărbat.
definite,
Bărbatul. Bărbatului.
and in the plural, indefinite,
Niște bărbați. Unor bărbați.
definite.
Bărbații. Bărbaților.
Barbatilor.
Here are a couple of examples of case declensions in context, focusing on the word.
Bărbat. Bărbatul a cumpărat o mașină.
This sentence means the man bought a car. Word for word, it's man, the, has bought a car. The form of the word for the man
Bărbatul.
is in the nominative case because it's the subject. So we use the definite declension for nominative case that we saw before. Another example.
Îmi place mașina bărbatului.
This sentence means I like the man's car. Word for word, it's myself or to me, like, car, the, man, the, possessive. The form of the word for the man is in the genitive case because it's showing possession. So we use the definite declension for genitive dative that we saw before. The ul coming after the word
Bărbat.
represents the definite article.
Bărbat.
If the definite article is followed by ui, that indicates genitive or dative.
Bărbat.
Is a masculine noun.
Bărbat.
Feminine nouns and neuter nouns take different case declensions. Yes, Romanian has maintained neuter gender, unlike the other Romance languages. Let's look at one more Romanian sentence together and see what we notice.
Din cauza vremii ploioase, nu am putut merge la picnic.
Wow.
Din cauza vremii pioase nu am putut merge la picnic.
Picnic.
Picnic, they stole it from French and English. Picnic.
La picnic.
You know what picnic means?
Picnic. Going out.
Yeah, you go to a park and you bring the thing and you eat some food.
This sentence means, due to the rainy weather, we couldn't go to the picnic. Word for word, it's from, cause, weather.
So see, ploiease, it's rain because we see pluie in French. And to me, the way that I pronounce it in Romanian, it's kind of sound like French a little bit. So that word I would know. The rest, not really. Causa. Oh, we say parce que in French.
Rainy, no, we have, could go to picnic.
Din
Is a contraction of de plus une, which both come from Latin.
cauza
Is a Romance word that was borrowed from French. Cose
vremii.
means
Oh,
weather
causa
and
means
is a
cozy.
Slavic loan word. It's a feminine noun and the base form is,
Vreme.
but in this sentence it's in the dative case, represented by this ending I plus the definite article I.
Ploioase.
Means rainy and comes from Latin pluviosus. This adjective is also declined to agree with the singular feminine dative case noun,
Vremii. Nu.
means no, and comes from Latin non. Is the first person plural form of the verb for to have. Similar to in other Romance languages, past actions can be expressed by using the auxiliary verb to have along with the past participle.
Putut.
Means could, and it's the past participle of,
A putea.
which comes from Latin potere. So together, and putut mean could or were able to.
Merge.
Means go and comes from the Latin mergere, meaning to dip or to plunge, but in Romanian it means to go. La is a preposition meaning to and comes from the Latin illac. And picnic means picnic and comes from the French word pique-nique. If you speak a Romance language, or if you've ever studied a Romance language, then you'll probably notice a lot of similarities with Romanian. But you may have to look a little closer to notice those similarities. Romanian clearly developed in a somewhat different direction from other Romance languages, and even though it was re-Latinized, it still feels more Slavic in some ways, in the way words are articulated, in the way words are formed, and in some details of the grammar. That's what makes Romanian interesting and unique amongst the Romance languages, its development in geographic isolation from the others and its contact with neighboring languages. So the question of the day, for speakers of Romanian, how similar do you think Romanian is?
Well, I was gonna say, now that he said that, when that guy, the traductor, the guy that translates for him, right, that speak Romanian during the video,
Yeah.
whatever he used, he sound Russian. His
Oh.
accent, he sound like a Russian man, like his accent and everything. So I was like, I didn't want to say that during the video, but he doesn't sound like it could be Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, or French in the tone that he used. It sound like Slavic maybe. So maybe that's why I said it makes sense now, you know.
Yeah.
And also the word that he said, oh, this come from French, blah blah blah. To me, as someone who speaks French as my first language, it was easier to understand when the word was coming from a Latin origin. I could understand what the word was meaning. When it came from more like a French origin, I felt like I could not tell what the word meaning. Like cozy, cause. I don't know. It was easier for me when it comes from a Latin origin.
I think when the pronunciation, if you practice, is probably gonna be quite easy.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
it's a super hard language on pronunciation. I mean, we did a lot of country language. I don't think it's one of the hardest one.
Yeah.
But a very interesting video. If there's more video from Romania we should react to, please let us know in the comment below. Yes.